5 at 6. This is 8 News Now.
Ever heard this cliche, Las Vegas was better when the mob ran it? The reality is a bit different, though. The exorcism of mafia figures from the casino industry was inevitable, tumultuous, and bloody.
The Martin Scorsese movie Casino told a thinly veiled version of what really happened here in the 70s and the 80s. And one of the key figures in the mob's demise here was a tall blonde named Geri Rosenthal.
8 News Now Chief Investigator George Knapp is here to tell us about a new look into the role she played, George.
Well, of course, Geri Rosenthal was the wife of Frank "Lefty" Rosenthal, a well-known odds maker who became the mob's inside man at the Argent casinos and who later became an FBI informant. Unknown to Lefty, so did his wife.
When's the last time you had a good freak or a good rock or a good hustle?
The best things I ever have are always with my husband.
Las Vegas television viewers likely caught on that the statuesque blonde selected to dance with casino big shot turned TV host Frank Rosenthal was actually his wife, Geri. The fact that Rosenthal had a TV show was viewed as an abomination by lawmen who had investigated him for years. Rosenthal, a.k.a. Lefty, was a brilliant odds maker and sports gambler who'd grown up under the umbrella of the Chicago mob, the outfit.
You can't even set foot in the parking lot. That's how serious it is.
In the Scorsese movie Casino, Robert De Niro plays the Rosenthal character. Joe Pesci is based on Rosenthal's lifelong friend, Tough Tony Spilatro, and Sharon Stone plays Rosenthal's stunning but tempestuous wife.
Well, Geri Rosenthal starts out as Geraldine McGee, this, California girl. She's grown up, sort of post-Dust Bowl, post-Depression. She's sort of the poorest family in town in California, but she is, as we've seen in the photos, gorgeous, classic.
Las Vegas writer Lisa Townsend Rogers pulled together everything known about Geri Rosenthal for a chapter in her book, Shameless, Women of the Underworld. She writes that during the Rat Pack era, Geri was attracted to the bright lights of Las Vegas, like so many other beautiful women, worked first as a cocktail waitress, then became a showgirl, then evolved into a high-class hustler. She wasn't a hooker, according to late hitman Frank Collada, but earned a good living as arm candy for high rollers, and she knew everyone on the Strip.
She kind of hits 30 and realizes, let's pick one and sort of make the investment.
We know how this goes in Las Vegas for women after 30.
Yeah. So, and, out of all of them, she kind of looks at him and goes, that's the best bet, and he is absolutely besotted with her.
Lefty and Geri were married, had a couple of kids, mingled with Las Vegas high society, but trouble was brewing. Federal lawmen were zeroing in on mafia infiltration of Las Vegas casinos. Millions of dollars in loans from the mob-tainted Teamsters pension fund helped build the Strip hotels. Businessman Alan Glick was the front-man owner of 4 casinos purchased with Teamster loans, but Frank Rosenthal was the real power on the inside during a period when millions of dollars were skimmed off the top and sent back to mob bosses in Midwestern cities. Chicago mob enforcer Tough Tony Spilatro, suspected in 25 murders, was sent to Las Vegas to make sure nothing interfered with the skim and to keep an eye on his longtime pal Lefty. Nevada Gaming Control tried to force Rosenthal out. He fought it every step of the way, and often Geri was at his side at various hearings. As pressure from law enforcement mounted, cracks appeared in the Rosenthal marriage. Geri reverted to being a party girl and, like her husband, had affairs. One of her trysts proved pivotal in the downfall of her marriage, her husband, and the mob in Las Vegas.
The affair she had with Spilatro, I remember that news spread like wildfire from law enforcement to a couple of reporters, and it landed like an atomic bomb. I mean, that was a big deal and beyond a faux pas. It was absolutely kind of thing that would be forbidden by the mob bosses, correct?
Oh, yes, absolutely. You don't mess with another guy's wife. That causes a lot of problems.
As the racket's boss of Las Vegas, Tony Spilatro was under surveillance 24/7. His dalliance with Geri Rosenthal was seen as an opportunity by the FBI. The story was reprinted in newspapers all across the country, perhaps on purpose to stir things up. It worked. There were tumultuous scenes in public, dire threats to spill various beans, and increasing pressure from news media and law enforcement. The Rosenthals divorced. Lefty barely survived a car bomb. Tony Spilatro was called back to Chicago, where he was murdered. Lisa Rogers says Geri fell in with a bad crowd on the Sunset Strip, blazed through all her money and jewelry in a haze of booze and drugs, and died of an OD.
And one thing, if you see videos of him even after, years after she's passed and he is old, he is still talking about this woman with like gaga eyes. It's, you know, he had it bad.
Talk briefly a little about the personal life, because that's going to be coming out in the movie, of course. You married Geri, a showgirl, and as you indicate, you raised two bright young people, children that have done very well. And according to reports that Geri started having an affair with a friend of yours, Tony Spilatro. Anything you can relate to us about that?
I can comment this way rather than no commenting. Geri's deceased. Tony's deceased. Neither one of them can speak for themselves. My two children are still living. I think for me to speak in a negative manner about their mother would be in poor taste. There's been several stories written about it. And I just think, again, for me to affirm the allegations, the suspicions, just wouldn't be in good taste, considering the fact, again, that she was or is the mother of my children.
Despite all that turmoil, the Rosenthals raised two great kids who were both nationally ranked swimmers at one point. Frank Rosenthal died of a heart attack in 2008. You can see in his face even then, he was still carrying a torch all those years later.
The author was right about that. Still smitten.
Yeah, you know, and for our viewers, they should know that a lot of that video is video from our own Channel 8 archive stories that you and Ned Day did back in the day.
The night after Frank Rosenthal's car bombing, he invited me and Ned over to his house.
That's crazy. Well, so the book is, I mean, it's tough to decipher what's really true, though.
Shameless. Great book, though. I hope people check it out.
Yeah. Okay, George. Thanks.
It's on my list now, George. Thank you.